What you doing? I'm the AC, and this is another Otaku News Reviews, and this time I'm talking about the original English light novel, Omega Destiny Awakens by Jougo Chihaya, with art by Sim Zhao, and even though it's not on the cover, it is on the inside title page, and I think it is cool that it's included. The editor is John Peacekeeper. Like I said, it's cool that it's included at some point. Don't really see that. I mean, of course, they're mentioned somewhere in the credits for the book, but it's nice that it's right there in the front. Anyways, this is a book that's on Vic's Lab. However, it's going to be delisted on April 21st, 2021. So why am I talking about it? Well, it's kind of the last chance for me to talk about it, to, I guess, get people to go and read it. Also, it's kind of just nice to have, like, some sort of documentation of my thoughts on it before it's gone. I mean, the book will still last forever. You just won't be able to buy it anymore, I guess. So I might as well go get it. I mean, depending on when you watch this, you still have some days before you miss it, or you already missed it, to read it or not read it. So, you know, as far as when I'm recording this, it's still about 10 days. So that's your little window you have. Anyways, let me get to the actual review of this story. So this takes place in a world it seems kind of like ours. It seems like a modern day kind of deal, but with fantasy elements in it. It's a really cool way it's implemented, but it takes place in a nation called Icon Nation. And this world has these gods, and a lot of people are descended from these gods that each kind of represent supernatural or mythological creatures, all different kinds of them. I mean, take any fantasy creature, and it has its own separate god, and then people that descend from them, and then they can use their powers and at some point transform into them. It's a really cool system that I feel like has a lot of potential, and I really want to see what more could be done with it, because I've seen like characters in stories that can like use powers from supernatural creatures or stuff like that. I haven't seen it like this, where they're the actual descendants from some kind of god, and then they can still use powers in a human form, and then still be able to transform. It's a whole bunch of cool stuff can happen with it. But these supernaturals, as they're called, do have some enemies, just regular humans. There's a whole nother nation, the Grigori Nation, and comprised mostly of humans that take advantage of supernaturals and kind of pits them against each other. I'm assuming there's still like regular weapons and stuff like that. I mean, it seems very modern day, just with these fantasy elements. So, yeah, I guess they're just pitting supernaturals against each other, while humans don't really do much in it yet. I don't know. So, the other place this is kind of another just school story. It kind of still has those typical story tropes, you know, typical shonen vibes. You know, they go to a school, mainly supernaturals. I think there's still humans in it. It still has this mix. But the main character is Luke Arimar. He apparently came from some pretty powerful parents, mother's human, dad and brother also supernaturals, but they disappear. And he has to live with his butler, who is also a human, a really powerful human for some reason, named Alonzo. And he trains him, he braces him for the last bit until he goes to this school, Alexander Academy. And he's kind of dealing with also kind of a more trope. He's training, but he has the potential to be super powerful, but he can't control his powers yet. And they kind of leak out of him sometimes when he tries to use them, and they become really dangerous. Okay, cool. All we can tell now, we can't tell what kind of supernatural being he is a descendant from, and you think he wouldn't at least know his dad's and his brothers, but he doesn't know those either. So all we know is he kind of just puts out blue energy that kind of just goes crazy. So yeah, another school story, and him just kind of try and learn how to use it. Yeah. Okay. So he starts school. Typical. He's afraid of his powers, but he does eventually make friends. Una, Jet, Ella, as well as some rivals. almost as typical as a school / supernatural story gets, but it's really cool. If anything, it's the powers that make this interesting, and seeing how they're used, seeing some of the fighting. Now, this whole story kind of has a weird pacing for me. I like that the fact it takes place in a month. This first novel, love it. I'm not typically a huge fan of stories that, I don't know, even a first book goes through a whole year. The fact that it goes through a whole month, that's fine. That's a good size for a book. However, it's on the bookends of this month. So it takes place first with his first couple days of school, then it skips a month, and then another event, and then that's kind of it. There doesn't seem to be a whole lot of story and character development in it for this first book. It's mainly just the action part. It's just a action scene with only enough build up to get to that scene. There's not really anything in between. Yeah. We do get a little bit of backstory, some little memories, but yeah, that's about it. Most of it is just to do enough to get to the action. And even though the action is cool, yeah, I feel like I would like to see a little bit more. A little bit, especially, with training. Yeah, there's this whole month of him starting school and we don't really know anything. It's also kind of weird because of the way events happen. There's this month skipped, and it seems like the way everyone talks and interacts, it's like they just went to the next day. It doesn't really feel like a month passed. So, I don't know. I like what's happening. It's kind of just a weird way that it happens. I guess is what I'm saying. But that's also my opinion. Like I said, I'm kind of a stickler for pacing stuff. I have a weird thing about pacing that I'll talk about all the time. So, that's the main gist of the story without spoiling anything, because, like I said, go and get it. There's another thing about the character page. Kind of spoilers it. It spoils any kind of character introduction, and it even gives away the antagonist. And the character page right at the beginning tells pretty much everyone, reveals anybody important, which is not typically seen in the first volume. If you get something like that, it usually starts with the second volume, or it's put at the end. This should have been put at the end. It's interesting. Kind of gives away what's going to happen and who's going to appear. I don't know, that was weird. And lastly, what I want to talk about is the artwork. I actually really like the style, and something about it makes it just pop. It really seems like it come at you. And then I kind of just thought about it. It's kind of really dark. Like if you just look at, even the title page, it's just dark. And I think this is because it was originally done in color and then made into black and white, which is what helps it pop. But it makes everything way too dark, and it's hard to see some of the details that I'm sure are there. It's also kind of hard to read some of the other text that's included in any pictures. But just want to throw that out there. I like the style. It's kind of cool, a bit comical, kind of, to me. That might be just my opinion. But, that's it. That's it for this Otaku News Reviews for Omega Destiny Awaken. Check it out. Depending on when you watch it, you can catch it. Maybe you already missed it. I don't know. But, hey, I wanted to talk about it because I do like it. It's a cool story overall, cool system. I hope there's more to it. It's kind of a bummer that this is getting delisted. I'm assuming that means the story isn't continuing. But from what I've seen, Jougo is apparently working on another series. So hopefully it'll be something cool. Maybe this system is getting incorporated somehow. Maybe this is it. I don't know. But let me know what you thought. If you've already read it, yeah, let me know. I like to hear what other people are talking about. But, if you like hearing what I have to say, go and like it. If you want to see more of my reviews, go and subscribe. You can see why I do all that. But until next time, I'm the AC. Thank you, and bye.